The Google Gang Podcast.
Do you know what? It probably would be dogs. I feel like that's the most boring answer anyone could ever give, but I love dogs.
Do you have a specific type of dog that you like?
My dog.
Right. What breed is your dog?
My dog is a spaniel.
Right.
He's really cute.
A cocker spaniel?
He's a Springer Spaniel.
Ooh, English Springer Spaniel.
An
right?
English Springer Spaniel.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's very posh. But
Just like you.
Just like me. Just like me and my white self. My white middle class self. Yeah. My dream dog would be like a Sprocker Spaniel.
Okay.
You know, it's a cross between a Sprocker and a Springer. No, Cocker and a Springer.
Yeah. Sprocker.
A Sprocker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
really
I've just spilled your tea everywhere.
Oh my god. Shit gets real till the tea is being spilled.
Hectic. I'm sorry that I don't have a Yorkshire tea for you. Are you a Yorkshire tea drinker?
Not particularly. My dad is, and he works in construction.
Okay.
So I mean that's like their bread and butter. Like if you turn up to the site,
But it's not bread and butter, it's tea.
But it's tea. But do you know what I mean?
Oh my god. My lovely housemate and a regular feature on the podcast, Cameron, has fucked up our chopping board by burning it.
It's now rustic. You can probably smell it.
It's rustic. Ignore him, he's not here. We've got Ellie Pollard on the podcast today, all the way from Sheffield, the Steel City.
Yeah.
Have you grown up in Sheffield your entire life?
I have grown up in Sheffield my entire life.
So why do you sound so educated?
Because I grew up on the nice side.
Hey, it's my parents have done all right work.
You know what? People ask me that all the time. Like, why don't I have an accent? I did when I was younger, because I used to hang around with sort of probably a more diverse group of people.
That's a polite way of putting it. You hang out with a bunch of wasters.
And like, so when I was younger, I had quite a strong Yorkshire accent, and my grandma does. My dad does, but my mum doesn't. So when I'm around people that speak a Yorkshire accent, I will.
Yorkshire up.
Yorkshire up.
It's exactly like my girlfriend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's like, people are like, oh, so whereabouts in the south are you from?
Is she from Leeds?
Yeah, she's from Leeds. But she sounds like she's from fucking, I don't know, the south. Milton Keynes or somewhere.
Milton Keynes. Oh, who would want to live there?
I don't know. I've never been there.
No. I think I drove past there and stopped for McDonald's.
Did you?
Yeah.
What would you rate it out of 10, the McDonald's? Was the shake machine working?
Do you know what? I think it was, to be honest. I think it was.
Good. That's surprising.
It is surprising, isn't it?
I often hear complaints from my larger friends, Dan Baines, about undesirable and unsatisfactory McDonald's trips that he has. So it's good to see that you've had a positive experience.
Right, here's a story about McDonald's. I've not had a McDonald's in 4 years. And I will tell you why. Because when I was doing my A-levels, and I just learnt to drive and I got a car, every day I would pretty much drive to McDonald's in my free period or at lunch and have a McDonald's. So I was like, right, this needs to stop because I'm going to die at the age of 25. And so I gave up McDonald's, and that was 4 years ago. And I haven't had one since.
That is such a bold statement. Like, you were like so addicted.
Yeah, I was so addicted. It was like my heroin.
And then you just said no more, and you actually had the willpower to do it.
Yeah, it's been tough, I'll admit. It's been really hard at times.
Did you replace it with something else?
Yeah, KFC.
I was literally just about to be like, what a hero if you were going to be like, now I only eat stir fries and I don't kill cows anymore.
No.
I was going to be like, what a fucking hero. You're just that's worse. KFC is worse.
It is. That's the things with KFC, it wasn't nearby. So for me to go to KFC, it was more of an effort.
Okay.
Whereas McDonald's was like 2 minutes away. Do you know? But
this seems like the justification of someone with a real problem.
Yeah, I do. I have a real problem. But that same year that I started giving up McDonald's, I lost 2 stone in weight.
Really? So
that's probably an indication of how much McDonald's I was eating. Have you noticed that everywhere there's a McDonald's there's pretty much a gym? Specifically, like a pure gym.
Okay.
Have you noticed that pattern? I could name 5 McDonald's that have a pure gym directly adjacent to it.
That's
now, what is that?
Well, because
There's
what?
a JD gym.
Yeah, there's a gym nearby to our McDonald's, which is just over the road. So, but there's a gym everywhere though, like
Just like a McDonald's.
you know.
Just like a McDonald's. Yeah.
I don't know if there's any correlation. I don't know if gyms are being like, let's set up right next to McDonald's.
Well, but isn't there like a demand for both? You know, you're in the McDonald's and you're like, oh, you're staring at this gym, you're thinking, oh, I need to lose weight, join the gym. Or you're in the gym staring at the McDonald's like, I deserve McDonald's. Like, it's a business idea, isn't it? That's why I'm going to open a gym
Now I'm winging out.
/ fast food.
In Cleveland, literally the McDonald's on the corner street, there's the big First Time Fitness.
I know.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking about it.
Shout out to Cleveland.
There is a lot of gyms near fast food places. Maybe you're onto something.
This is it. I'm going to rule the world one day.
What do you want to do? Is comedy the dream, or is comedy just a hobby?
Yeah, I think if I'm being realistic with myself, comedy is the dream, but also literally realistically, probably won't be. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm still young, and I feel there's a lot of pressure, isn't there, on young people to sort of know what they're going to do.
Is there a lot of pressure inflicted by yourself, do you think, though?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I feel like, yeah, I don't really know. It's really difficult because I feel like I don't want to disappoint my parents by just standing up and telling jokes. But they're fully supportive of me. But I'm like, what can I do to have, like, money? Like, hand money, like, you know, how can I do that?
Real dollars.
Real dollars. I mean, comedy's okay for, like, so far, but then, you know, like, to do it as a career, that's huge.
Yeah.
And I'm still early days for me. But no, I've got 2 part-time jobs, so I'm very busy.
Busy lady.
Busy.
So you have your own comedy night called the Comedy Hose, which is in Sheffield.
Mm-hmm.
What prompted you to start up your own comedy night in Sheffield? Because is there that many comedy nights in Sheffield, or was that the reason why you started?
Well, that was partly the reason why we started. I mean, back when we started in December, we had our first one, and we were the only... There was another night called Mr. Pandas, but that is now changed into an improv comedy night.
Yeah.
Do you know Dan Turner?
Yes.
He started doing a comedy night in Sheffield, but that...
Does he live in Sheffield?
Yeah, he's... Yeah. No, I don't know. I think he's Manchester, isn't he?
Yeah, I thought he was as well.
Yes, but he's...
He's emceeing tonight.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be nice to see him. I'll ask him why, but that's stopped, and so we were the only ones sort of doing anything.
Yeah.
And so there was a gap in the...
Sorry. Really sorry. Let's just say it now.
Cam's cooking pasta in the kitchen. This is what you get with shared accommodation, ladies and gentlemen. You've got to fucking grind out those years of fucking rooming with a bunch of cunts you can't stand until you get to the point where you can just be yourself. You're not involved, Cam.
Honestly, I've been funnier than you so far on this podcast.
Listen to this cunt. The microphone can't hear you, mate.
No.
It's for the best, as long as you can.
Oh, but yeah, so we were the only ones. And it's nice to give people the opportunity to get experience standing in front of people telling jokes. And it's also a nice place for people to go try out new material.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Manchester, like you do a night, you know, Dan does a night, the Comedy Balloon, there seems to be loads more stuff.
Yeah.
In like Manchester, Liverpool, Leeds, but like Sheffield just seems to be like a weird place where nothing's really happening.
Sheffield is like my hometown in Australia, Brisbane. There is one comedy night that happens once a fortnight on a Sunday afternoon, and there is one once a month on a Tuesday, and that is it.
That's it.
And that's the end of it. And there's no, like, I think you mentioned it as well. You like the community, the family aspect of the Manchester comedy scene. Like, we're all matey. We do things outside of comedy together, but then we're also like meeting up, going to the same gigs, helping each other out. There's not that community in a place where there's not that many gigs to go to.
No, exactly. And I do miss that. Like, you know, when I'm come to one of your gigs, or I see Dan or Sean, and it's like, I've missed this, I want to be a part of this, but yeah, there just isn't anything in Sheffield, and so I'm trying to do something about it, but it is a slow process, but we've got some exciting things lined up.
Do you find as well, like your gigs in Sheffield, do they attract local Sheffield comics, or they attract people from outside?
People from outside, actually. Like, again, weirdly enough, there's not many comedians from Sheffield, I find. I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, there's like Sean Morley, He's good, a funny guy. But apart from that, I can't really think of any sort of significant one that's still sort of on the open mic scene. I mean, Sean's not, but you know, he still touches base with it every once in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sheffield just needs something bigger.
I don't think comedy is going to be the answer. I think Sheffield's problems run deeper than the lack of open mic comedy nights, I'll be honest.
True, let's talk about the true issues with Sheffield.
Okay.
Potholes.
Right.
There's too many potholes in Sheffield.
I don't think that's just Sheffield. I think that's fucking England. You guys don't understand roads.
We don't.
One, they're not wide enough. Two, they're not sealed well enough. And three, the people that drive on them are fucking retarded.
Yes, I agree. Yes, 100%. There were so many idiots out on the road today driving over here.
Not just today.
Not just today.
Every day.
Every day.
The problem with the roads in England is there's too many British people on them. That is the main issue I have. Actually, literally, you know, Highways England, and they have all their fucking alerts. It should just be a constant alert every 15 minutes to be like, remember, there's British people on the road today.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is good.
That would be a good idea, actually. That's a good idea. People get really bad road rage as well over here, I think. What's it like over in Australia? Do people get road rage?
People don't get angry as often because there's so much to be happy about. Like, and I think that's fair but unfair to say, because there's a lot of things to be happy about in England, obviously, compared to other parts of the world. But I feel like, as well, if I explain it like this, when I left Australia, I could not wait to leave. I was like, England's going to be so much better. Like, the grass is always greener on the other side, right? Now I've got here, I've realised the error of my ways, right? Can't wait to go home. I'm extending my visa as well, so I can stay with my lovely girlfriend, and she can finish her degree. So another great year in paradise. Basically, like, when the sun is shining, right, and when you're being paid very well, like we have one of the highest minimum wages in the world.
Yeah.
So the sun is shining, you're paid well, your houses are really big, there's lots of space. The quality of life is just so drastically different, and those like small things. So like, we still do the same shit, we still wash the same clothes, cook the same meals, all that jazz. Our cultures aren't that different in that way, but just the difference of environment is what the change is. And look, some people are fuckwits, and there's fuckwits everywhere. And people get angry and they cut people off and do whatever. But I just feel like people are far more patient because they're like, what have we really got to be angry about? Like,
life is bliss.
You know.
Mum, Dad, if you're listening to this, I'm going to move to Australia.
You should. It would be great fun. Have you ever thought about moving overseas?
I've always wanted to go. Like, if people ask me if I wanted to go travelling somewhere, anywhere in the world, where would I go? I'd be like, Australia.
Yeah. Get
me there now. But I've never done it because I'm one of these people that talks the talk and never walks the walk. Do you know? Like...
That's not entirely true, though, because you have talked the talk and walked the walk on some things.
Yeah, but
like today you said you were going to go snowboarding and you haven't.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I also said that I was going to run the Sheffield half marathon last year. Yeah. And I didn't. Right. I've attempted it twice. And by attempted it, I mean... Thought about doing it? Signed up. And then just not turned up. Did you pay? Yeah. You paid? Yes, I paid. You paid to go for a run? Okay, the first time... Hang on, you know my attitude towards this. Fucking idiot. The first time, it was my first year of university. I was feeling great, like, at the start of the year. I was like, oh yeah, I've just lost a load of weight. Let's do a half marathon. Great. Signed up, and then I kind of forgot about it. And then I was back home at Sheffield, and I woke up this one morning. I could just hear this, yeah, woo, from outside my window. Just opened the curtains. I was like, oh, loads of runners going past. I was like, thinking about fucking this chumps. Yeah. Wake up early to go for a run. I know. So I missed that one. The second one was meant to be this year, just gone, and just couldn't do it. Couldn't bring myself to do it. Couldn't bring myself. Did you train? Well, no, that's the problem. I thought I was... It's a half marathon. It's no fucking joke. You can't just wake up and do it. It's in Sheffield as well, so it's like fucking Mount Everest most of the time. Yeah. It's like a 13-mile incline. No, that's whole... How many miles is a half marathon? 21 kilometres, so 13 miles sounds about right. I think about half of it is like a straight uphill. Yeah. Like off the start. That's just not my life.
It's not like for example, my experience with like runs. So there's like the Gold Coast Marathon, right?
Oh yeah.
But the Gold Coast Marathon is by like you're running on a road and the sea is there and it's about 28 degrees and you've got the nice sea breeze coming off the water and it's just a really nice run and it's all flat and you just sort of just putt along and life's amazing. So I just couldn't imagine how excited you could be to run through the chilly streets of Sheffield where all the houses look the same.
Like dodging the potholes as you run down the street.
Dodging the potholes and fucking... I went to Sheffield 2 weeks ago. I counted 5 fridges left in the street, right? 5 fridges, 3 mattresses, right? And just a stack of car wheels.
Yeah.
No car, just the wheels stacked up in like the road, like where a car could be parked, a stack of wheels.
Yeah. Welcome to Sheffield.
Why? What is your attitude towards just leaving appliances in the street?
Well, I think the general attitude is like not our problem anymore. We'll just leave them here. Someone will take them. In fact, does that
happen?
That's the thing. Like we'll put something somewhere and we'll say like we'll leave it. Someone will take it. Like people do that pretty much all over.
Like someone's hired to take it, or like just scroungers and dossers will just come around and pick out your shit.
Yeah, scroungers. Because we have a skip that pretty much lives at our house at the moment because we're having construction work, and people will just come and like jump in the skip and take things out of it.
All the time.
Yeah, pretty much probably like once a week.
What the fuck?
My mum came.
A bunch of bloody suburb bin divers just fucking picking through your shit.
Bearing in mind also I said earlier that I live in the nice part of Sheffield.
Yeah.
So guess what the rough area is. But my mum came home the other day, or this is at Christmas, with like 4 dining chairs. And I was like, Mum, where did you get those? She was like, I was just walking past them when I was walking the dog and I thought, they're nice. So we've just got these 4 dining chairs.
So you're not innocent, you guys are also thieves.
Yeah. It's free, isn't it? You gotta be frugal.
You've got to be frugal, especially in this current economic climate.
Exactly. Dining chairs can go a long way. You know, fresh coat of paint.
And you can never have too many dining chairs.
No, you honestly can't.
As I always say.
You've got 4. Have you got any more hidden away? Have you got any spare ones?
No, none of this furniture belongs to me either. It's all come with the house, so I didn't choose any of this. What I wanted to ask you though is, before you were doing your own night in Sheffield, where were you performing? Like, how did you know this is what you wanted to do?
Well, the first time I ever did comedy was at one of my own nights.
Right.
I did comedy the completely wrong way.
Okay.
I started organising a night, and the first gig I ever did was sort of co-hosting the night. So my first ever gig was like as a compere.
But why did you want to host the night?
Because we didn't really know how it worked, and I thought like, okay, it'll be fine. I didn't realise how much work went into it. There's like a compere, or how difficult it is.
Yeah.
Like in contrast.
It's almost good that you went in so blind.
Oh yeah. I jumped straight into the deep end.
Yeah.
Like without armbands on, and it was good. The first night was good, and then after that I thought, well, yeah, I like it. And then the second time I hosted it again, and it was terrible. And then I was like, I'm not going to compare anymore. And that's when I actually started doing regular, just 5 minutes, 10 minute slots after that.
Yeah.
So I got into comedy after organising my event. I know. It's completely the wrong way around.
But you'd never like tried it anywhere else. Like
No.
what? But like, when did you come up with the idea of being like, I want to do comedy? Like, what was the defining moment?
I went on a comedy course in September 2017 with Anthony J. Brown.
Yes.
He's really good, like fantastic. If anyone's thinking about doing a comedy course in Sheffield, I would definitely check it out. And that's where I met Aaron.
Yeah.
And then we went on this comedy course and we stayed in touch. We were like, there's nowhere in Sheffield that we can go and try out for the first time. We've just been on this comedy course. We know what we're doing now. We want to go and try it somewhere local. But there wasn't anywhere. So we were like, I know, let's start our own night. Yeah. And so we did. And that's just how it happened.
And that's how it came out. And now you're doing gigs in Manchester. Have you been to Liverpool yet?
Yes, I did Liverpool Hot Water. I've done Hot Water a couple of times. Last Sunday as well was the last time I was there. But yeah, all over now. Liverpool, Manchester, Leeds. Was in Hull a couple of weeks ago. We're going to Loughborough next week. Chesterfield. I've never really been down south yet.
I went to London.
Oh, was that last night?
No, it wasn't last night. No, it was like last month or something. My mate was over on a trip because he does like international politics or some boring fucking degree. So I went down to visit him, and then he was like, "Oh, you know, get on a stand-up gig. I want to watch you."
Yeah.
So basically, the London people came up to me afterwards and were like, "We really enjoyed it," but it was almost like they were so prim and proper that my lowbrow, vulgar humour they felt like they couldn't laugh at while I was there.
Oh,
so
okay. So they felt almost ashamed of laughing at it.
Yeah, they were just like, but silent, like just like smirking, and I was like, "Come on, give me
good.
something." So I didn't have a good time. But there are rooms as well. Like I find sometimes you go somewhere and the people that are in there are not like loud laughers.
Yeah.
Like they're giggling and they're enjoying it, but they're not like like letting it all go. And obviously I'm a loud laugher, so I like hearing that back.
You can hear when you laugh at a gig. Oh, brilliant. But you do need people to like audibly make a sound when you laugh. Like there's this thing, isn't there, going around, I don't know if it's an actual thing, but using like jazz hands instead of clapping. And I understand that
it's at Manchester University.
Yeah, well, I understand it's something to do with sort of, so like deaf people or people who are hard of hearing can like see the reaction.
No, it's to do with anxiety.
Oh, is it?
People get anxious when like round of applause makes them feel anxious and uncomfortable. So if it's like this, it's now silent. But it's at a university, and Sean, lovely man, made a very good point, being like, if you can't handle a round of applause, wait until you get to end of year exams at university. Like if you think a round of applause is going to give you anxiety, Manchester Uni's probably not the place for you.
Yeah.
It's just fucking stupid.
I think like a round of applause it's a sign of respect. I think like when I do a joke, and like yes, you want to get a laugh, but like the best is when you get a round of applause.
Yeah.
And you hear people clapping. That is just such a great feeling, you know. And I think, it would just be a bit weird if you just saw jazz hands, because it's almost like that you saying in London, like you can see people enjoying it, but you can't feel it.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference.
The energy in the room. The energy in the room is like a weird thing. So we went to a gig last week in Manchester, and a comedian had rocked up late, and he came in the middle of someone's set, and I'll be honest, the person wasn't doing amazing, but he sat down and he goes, "What's going on in here?"
Oh no.
And I was like quietly, and I was like, she's dying, like she's not doing well. And he goes, "It's so tense in here." Like he opened the door and it was like thick energy in the room, and I could feel it as well, but because I was a part of the audience and I'd been there the entire time, it wasn't as amplified. But as we left, I was like whoo, as we walked out, like it was just a weird room. It was the way the room was set up, the fact you had to go downstairs to get to it. There was just a number of factors, and it was dark, and the person wasn't funny, and then I got up and I wasn't funny also, so you know, it swings and roundabouts.
It is. I think like the comedy is so, but that's why I love stand-up comedy, because it can either go really, really badly, or the feeling of like the intimacy you get as an audience.
What's the best gig you've had? Like,
do you know what? Like, I love the Comedy Balloon.
Yeah.
Like, I love that venue. I think it's just great. And every time I've been there, I've only been twice, admittedly, but every time I've just felt like the audience was 100% on my side, like wanting me to do well.
Yeah.
I think that's probably one of the best ones. And again, like Liverpool Hot Water is always a good gig.
Yeah.
Like, again, that's a really nice audience. So I'd probably say one of those two.
And what about the worst gig you've ever had?
The worst gig that I ever had was probably, apart from that time that I compared, that second ever time, and it was just, there was this guy who was like so high and just heckling like the whole entire night, and because I was like not experienced at all, I just ignored it. Instead of like telling him to shut up, I just let it go on, like, and it was just, it was terrible. But the worst, like as a performer, that just doing 10 minutes or whatever, was quite, more recently it was in Hull, and it was a smaller room, it was quite intimate, and it was just not the type of crowd like I was used to. It was, for some reason, I don't quite understand what happened still. It wasn't like terrible.
Were they working class?
Probably the most of them. Oh no, this makes me sound so bad.
You literally just walked into the biggest no.
But it wasn't that. It was, I think they were like, it was also very male dominated.
Yeah, did they look like they'd lay bricks?
No, you know what? No, actually, it was a really weird mix of people, and I don't think most of them who were there in the audience were supporting one specific act, and so anyone else was kind of, just
filler.
Yeah, and like my humour, I'm not sort of a one for like vulgar. I like listening to it. I think it's good, but it's not really my style.
Yeah.
Do you know, if I just whipped out like a really horrible joke in the middle of my set,
You wouldn't go well in a roast, you would think.
Yeah, no. I'd be terrible at a roast. I'd be so bad. We were thinking about doing a roast in December for this thing that we're doing, the new venue, but I just don't think I could do it. Unless I was dressed up as a character.
Yeah.
So I was thinking maybe I could dress up as like Rudolph. And we could have like a roast battle between Rudolph and Father Christmas.
And you're going to be Rudolph.
Yeah, like
complaining
Rudolph.
about how fat he is.
Yeah, you fat bastard.
Dan could be Father Christmas. That would actually be perfect.
It would actually.
I don't know if
Great.
they make Santa outfits big enough though.
Whoa, shots fired.
Fuck, me and Dan are supposed to be roasting each other in London at the end of this month. But nothing's been confirmed and I haven't written any jokes. So, yeah.
Need to get on that.
Yeah, I'm just fucking... I got other stuff on. But I wanted to talk to you because you're a young, foxy, single lady out in the scene, and you do talk about being on Tinder quite often.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to get an idea from a single woman's perspective, and respectfully an educated woman's perspective, because I feel like you're not going out with like the dregs of society. You've got some sort of self-respect, you've got some sort of standard. So what is it like trawling through the never-ending pile of absolute shit cunts on Tinder?
Yeah, you get a lot. There is a lot. Like, that's just one of the pitfalls, isn't it, with online dating? And that's what's put me off of late. I've not been on it as much recently. Yeah. Because you do meet some people that are just, like, horrible. And, like, just really not nice people. Yeah. But then again, you do find sometimes, like, a diamond in the rough. Sponsored by Tinder. But, yes, there's been good and bad.
When was the last time you found a diamond in the rough?
6 years ago.
6 years ago? Tinder wasn't even a thing 6 years ago.
I started using Tinder when I was 17. I was probably one of the first people.
Was Tinder out 6 years ago?
Well, that would have been 5, maybe 6 years ago, I think.
Oh my god.
I know. And now it's become like a staple in society, isn't it? Like, I swear everyone knows what it is. But yeah, I think it's quite difficult. Like, dating in like the 21st century is quite difficult, and like I get really self-conscious and awkward about it. So when I'm like on my phone, like, that's easy because I'm hiding behind a screen. Yeah. I'm a keyboard warrior. I just get off slagging off people online. No, I don't. I don't do that.
So like, okay, say let's do a role play, right?
Okay.
Me and you match on Tinder. Okay. Yeah. You go, it's a match. You see my face. Yeah. Right? Hello. Yeah. Do you message first or do you wait to receive something?
I don't. This thing about like who messages who first, I think is just like old news. I will message people first. I don't have a grudge about it. Yeah. Some, like, quite a few friends that I've spoken to, or like girls, they will only speak to them, like a guy, if they speak first. I think that's kind of just a bit unfair, like it should be either one. So I'd probably message first. Okay. To be honest.
And what would be the opening message typically?
I rotate between a few.
Are you doing a copy and paste job? Have you already like planned out templates like a bloody Microsoft email?
Yeah. I try and like pick out things in people's bios to make it more personal. Yeah. But generally, if I'm just going for like a broad thing, I will either go for, are you a banana because you're appealing?
So shit.
So shit. Or did you just fart because you're blowing me away?
That's better.
No, they're still terrible. But what is great is that sort of gauges people who has a sense of humour or not. Yeah,
and someone's like, what the fuck are you on about, you stupid idiot? You're like, well, you're not the one for me.
Exactly. Unmatch.
And what do you usually get back from those responses?
People, again, but this is why I have like a method of like filtering out the good and the bad. Because if they respond like witty, then that's great, we can have a conversation and it goes from there. But if they're just like, lol, so how are you doing? I'm like, no, go away. Like, that's not me. Just like, let's have a conversation like people and see if anything goes from there, you know?
This is good advice for young players out there.
Yeah.
You know?
Don't force anything. Don't go into the conversation just like 100% flirtation levels to the max. Like, build it up. Just have a bit of banter. Have a bit of, you know, chemistry.
Yeah. It's hard to create chemistry though on an app where you're talking to so many other people, and it makes you almost numb to the point where you don't really care about any of them.
Yeah.
It's such a selfish like echo chamber of pleasure where you're just like, I will say whatever I need to say to get the result that I want, and after I've got it, I don't give a flying fuck about what happens after that.
Yes, yeah.
That's pretty fair.
Yeah, pretty fair. I think with guys as well, like, there's obviously different types of guys on Tinder. There's the ones that are just straight up just looking for like a one night stand. The ones that are kind of like...
How often do you think those blokes are successful?
I'd probably say about 3% of the time.
Okay.
I'd say the
That's
statistics
pretty
right.
high.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair.
If you come
like,
straight out the gate being like, nice tits, wanna fuck. Like, I don't think 3 out of 100 girls are saying yes.
No, maybe not. Maybe.
Maybe in Sheffield. There ain't a lot to look forward to.
Yeah. We're just a bunch of sluts.
So, question for you, right? Mm-hmm. This is to gauge the type of person you are, right?
Yeah.
Ideal man, who would it be?
Okay, so I've got to pick like a celebrity, or can I like...
Not necessarily.
Okay.
If it's a celebrity, it could be like, you know, a guy you went to school with. That's now like a fucking interior designer.
Interior designer, yeah, that's the ideal man, interior designer. I'd say someone with a sense of humour, like, is... I know people say this, oh, like, personalities, like, that's bullshit, but no, someone who's got a really good sense of humour is what I look for, essentially. Like, it doesn't really matter, like, where they come from, what they look like, just someone that can make me laugh and, like, make me feel comfortable. That sounds so cheesy and so cliche. Oh my gosh, I literally hate myself.
No, don't, because that's what you want to say. Like, that's what you want.
Yeah, I think there's I don't know. I'm a bit different, I feel like, to a lot of the way that society and the media makes us think. You know, its image is sort of everything, isn't it? Like, if you look good and the couple looks nice, then everything's perfect. But that's not true, is it? That's not how it works out in real life. You know, you've got to have real features and have, like, people have problems. Like, everyone has problems. You know, let's not pretend that they don't exist. That's, you know, just someone that will make you feel comfortable about them.
That is spot on.
Thank you.
You are just firing
Thank
today.
you.
You're firing all cylinders. You know who's really going to enjoy this?
Who?
The biggest fan of you
Who's
right now that I know. My girlfriend Hazel. Literally, and she's hearing you talk like this. She's going to be like, "Yes, girl.
Yes.
Preach it." So how do you feel being a woman in comedy when, as you know, it is a very male-dominated industry? Because you are not a, like, ram it down your throat, I'm a woman. You're just
exactly. And I think that's... Right, I get a bit mixed up in my head about this, and I don't exactly know what the problem is.
Yeah.
Because, like, on Facebook, there has been... Like, there's, like, women in Facebook, women in comedy groups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they seem to sort of, generally speaking, I don't want to label everyone like this, generally speaking, they seem to blame the promoters for not, getting women on the bills.
Yeah.
However, I don't think there's as many women in comedy as men. Like,
no, there's just not. It's plain and
it's a
simple.
combination of the two, isn't it? Like, not enough women getting into comedy and not enough being put on the bills and put on, like, headlining slots. And so I don't really know a way out of it. You know, I don't really know a solution. But for me, like, on one hand, it's not a good thing, but, you know, I get probably more gigs than I would do if I was a guy.
Yeah.
Because promoters are looking to fill out the diversity. But also, like, as a comedian and someone who genuinely wants to be funny and the best that I can be, I don't want to be judged on the fact that I'm a woman. I want to be asked to do a gig because I'm funny. Mm. And so that's why I shy away from, like, stereotypical topics that are associated with, you know, females. Yeah. Because I don't want that to become sort of my... You know, I don't want to be judged on that. I want to be judged because I'm funny and the jokes that I'm telling are funny to everyone, not just women.
What I think like cheapens it a bit is when like audience members I've heard will be like, oh, she was funny for a girl.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
And I'm just like, why can't we just say she was funny? Like,
yeah. Like there has been like cases where definitely from like I've heard from my experiences, I'll tell people like, oh, I do like stand-up comedy, and they're like, what? But you're a girl, like it's almost as like girls can't be funny, and that's like really horrible. Like that is still a thing. How is that a thing? I mean,
one of my favourite comedians on the circuit is a woman. Do you know who Darcy Silver is?
Oh, she's fantastic. I love Darcy.
Like the things she says are so ridiculous. Like what happens in her head, right? If we could just get all her ideas and all the jokes that she writes, right, and give them to me, right, we'd just be an unstoppable team. Because Darcy's thing, and she'll be the first to admit this, she's very nervous before she gets on stage. While she's there, she's very anxious, and then she gets off, she's like, oh, thank God it's over, like whatever. But she's like really enjoying it, but she's not enjoying it at like the same time. Whereas I'm really loving being on stage, but I'm not that good at writing jokes. That's the situation. So we need like her joke writing power with my like whatever. I haven't broached this with her, and I don't think she'd go for it. But the option's always open. I absolutely love you.
She is fantastic, and it is great to see like women like that, just like really like nailing it in terms of like comedy writing, without relying on the fact that again they are a woman and just saying funny anecdotes about like a period or something like that. You know, it's nice to see when, you know, I put thought into what I'm writing. I do, and I hope that comes across. I don't know, I don't want to say too much because it is like, you know, you're always going to upset someone, and I don't want to upset anyone.
Who gives a fuck? Hey, no one cares, Ellie.
No one cares.
That's what you'll realise one day.
Hopefully.
Realise that nobody cares.
Nobody cares
about you or anything.
I'm just gonna die alone.
Everyone is out for themselves.
No one's liking me on Tinder. I'm alone forever. But yeah, women in comedy is such like a. I feel like what confuses me is that, you know, if you turn on to like the panel shows or you watch TV, a lot of them, you know, there's a healthy proportion that are women, like on the panel shows, like, you know, Catherine Ryan, Sarah Pascoe, you know, they seem to be on a lot of the shows, and I don't know why it's not sort of reflected down into the open mic sort of stuff. I just don't know.
It's also the same thing as well, where women don't gravitate towards those type of careers. Like women gravitate more to being dancers than men do, but men gravitate more towards comedy. Men gravitate more to roles in construction, and women like gravitate more jobs in care and nursing and nurturing, because women are motherly, caring, nurturing figures, and men are masculine, physical, whatever. There's a difference between the two types of people. Now, the thing with comedy is not masculine, but it's also not nurturing. But it's, again, I feel like the opportunities that have been afforded by the way that society is constructed, where men can go out and seek their own pleasure, but women were really never allowed to go out and have pleasure and self-fulfillment, because it's like, you've got a job to do. You know, you've got to stay home. So we're slowly getting out of that, but there's nothing about comedy that says it has to be men, it has to be women.
Exactly.
It's just been a male-dominated, because it was almost a free time activity for a long time. Comedy's not important. You don't need comedy to make the world go round.
I completely agree. Like, it does seem, for when I started getting into comedy though, like, I didn't really understand why not many females were there, because when my mum and dad, they like French and Saunders, Victoria Wood, like these fantastic like British female comedians that were huge influences on me, and I saw them on the TV and I was like, oh well, I'm a woman, like I can do that. And so I didn't think twice about it. But obviously there is still this massive stigma, and it must be intimidating for some women wanting to go into comedy that is, like you said, generally male dominated. You know? And you do get some like quite aggressive male audience members that will react with hostility just because you are not them. you know?
You're not a straight white male. I don't want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, it is. It's a shit. And it's very different. It's different for me to even speak about it because I am very lucky. Like, from a middle class background, I am white. Like, and I'm a woman, and it's kind of has been quite easy for me because I've got a very supportive family. But I imagine someone from a different background might have it completely different.
Yeah.
And being a woman as well might be just like how would you get the guts to really put yourself out there?
Yeah.
And essentially could risk like embarrassment, humiliation, everything. It must be like,
When you're writing your material, how much do you think about the audience?
I don't know, honestly. When I write, I don't really think about the audience.
Okay.
However, when I'm sort of writing a set for a specific night, I'm quite familiar with like Manchester, Liverpool area now. But if I was to go anywhere else, I'd sort of adjust probably a few bits and swap in a few jokes that I think would work better. But not so much. Again, not so much. But I think my humour's quite broad-reaching.
Yeah.
Do you know? I don't know. But I think that's because I'm still relatively new.
How many gigs would you say you've done?
It's still at under 20.
Really?
I'm that new, yeah. I'm a real baby.
See, I've been doing it less amount of time, but done a fuck ton, lot more gigs.
Yeah.
But in a short space of time, which I don't know whether or not it's good. I haven't been going since April. I'm so fresh.
You are fresh.
But I've done, I think it's about 70 gigs.
Yeah.
Now. Because
we're
just doing so many, we're doing 4 or 5 a week.
Yeah, but that's the way it should be. I think that's the best way to do it. Because if you have like a bad gig on Monday, you can get back out there Tuesday or Wednesday and do the same set, and it will go down completely different, and your confidence is back up. And I think where I've been going wrong is I have been spacing them out a little bit, and I've had more time to think, and I've also had more time to get down about it if it doesn't go as well.
Yeah.
So I just make things really difficult for myself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just really hate myself.
Do you feel like after a gig, do you record your gigs and go home and analyze everything that happened?
No, but do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was with the.
But I do it in a sometimes you can get yourself in a state. Would you say you're an overthinker?
Yes, 100%. Yes.
I don't know if it would benefit you because I'm very matter of fact. So I'll listen to something. I'll be like, oh well, that happened. We'll fix it. We won't do it again, and then it's done. Whereas there's other people that will think way too much and they'll listen and be like, oh fuck, what did I do? And they'll just wind themselves out. And the next gig they'll be like, I can't do that again. And it grates them and it doesn't benefit them at all.
100%. I think that's such a dangerous hole to fall down. I think people say you're you're your own worst critic.
Yes.
Right? And that is so true for me.
Yeah.
I
don't think I've ever met anybody who that's not true for.
Yeah, it's true. And you always think you can do better. And I think that's healthy to a certain extent, isn't it? Because you do want to better yourself. But there's also a huge, like you said, you can just get really down about it and overcritical. And then it takes more guts to get back up there and do it again.
I think something I said the other day, which I want to backtrack on what I said, but I'll say it to you now. I said, I won't stop doing what I'm doing until I'm proud of myself, and I'm never proud of myself.
Oh.
But see, that sounds like, it's not like I'm not proud of myself and what I'm doing, but it's like there's always another level. As soon as I get here, I'm looking there. And it's just going up and up the ladder, and it is just an infinite ladder of whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm just never happy with what I'm doing. As soon as I've achieved something I wanted to do, I was like, well, that's done. What's the next thing?
Yeah. So are you more motivated by goals rather than rewarding yourself for doing something? I mean, do you accomplish something? Do you reward yourself, or do you just go straight on to the next thing?
I just accomplish something, that's the reward, and we move on.
Yeah.
And I'm very driven by impact. So I don't really care as much money and all the rest of it will come, but my focus is being impactful and doing something.
Yeah, that's really nice.
So that's why I do this. That's why I do the comedy nights. That's why I do radio shows. Why I talk to interesting people.
Yeah.
You can people will listen to you, and if you can say something that does something for them, then
absolutely.
You've won, haven't you? It's
Yeah.
like those people that used to come into your school and like tell you about the importance of wearing a seatbelt, and it's like, if I can save one child's life wearing a seatbelt, and then there's a big accident out the front and it's a terrible result, everyone dies. So they didn't really do anything.
No. Yeah, really, yeah.
Did you guys have a giraffe that used to come to your primary schools and tell you guys not to do drugs?
A giraffe?
Yeah,
Was this a real giraffe?
No, it's a puppet. His name's Harold.
No, I didn't have Harold.
Oh, it must have just been an Australian thing.
We had our assemblies. What I remember from school is our assemblies were very much doom and gloom.
Okay.
Like I went to this because I was big into sports when I was at school, and I was in the netball team or something, and I went to this other school to play a netball match. And you walked in, and on the sign, like on the wall in front, is a big notice board, and it's like, be careful. And there's a picture of this girl on the floor with a javelin through her thigh. Like, that was the type of education. It was like fear-mongering. It was like, don't piss about, you'll get a javelin through your eye and out your brain, you'll be skewered like a chicken on the barbecue. Like, that's how it was.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it was always like, don't do this because the worst thing in the world will happen. Do you know? Like, don't drink from someone else's drink because you'll get AIDS. Like, I felt like that is the majority of our assemblies.
Was that just your school, or is that English schools as a whole?
I don't know. I feel like that might be like a thing in the UK. I think we are very much like doom and gloom.
Everyone's trying to scare everyone else and nick everyone else's money.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like is happening here. It's a lot of like, I'll take from you because he's taking from me.
Yeah. Yes, scare tactics, isn't it? But yeah, I think at the schools there could be probably some more positive reinforcements. Like,
maybe it's changed. You were in school a while ago.
Yeah.
Not a while ago. I don't know, 6 years ago?
6 years, yeah. 7 years.
Oh god, how exciting. I wanted to ask you, if money was nothing, right? If money was not a problem, what career would you want to have and where would you want to be living? What's the ideal dream?
Do you know what? I think, like, I would, again, it's cliche, but I would love to do comedy. Like, just do stand-up comedy. Even the stuff that I'm doing now, if I could just afford to, like, travel all over the UK, just doing open mics, I would. But obviously the big dream would be to have, like, like headlining shows and tours across the world. And I think where was I living? I'd be living... Do you know what? I slagged Sheffield off earlier, but I'd probably live in Sheffield.
No way! That is the worst answer to that question ever.
I know.
I want to do comedy and live where I am now.
Oh
my god!
I am my own dream. I inspire myself every day.
You fucking made it, Ellie Pollard. You have made it. You literally just derailed the fuck out of this.
Okay. Let me pick somewhere else. If I was to live anywhere else, doing like comedy, like massively touring everywhere.
Don't say Bradford.
I'd live in... do you know, I do... It's difficult because I'd be quite intimidated going abroad, like somewhere. But I think like, maybe somewhere like in Scotland actually would be pretty cool. Like I quite like Edinburgh. Edinburgh seems cool.
Yeah.
And there's, every summer, it's great, isn't it, out there? So
is it? I've never been.
Well, I mean, like Fringe and everything.
Yeah, Fringe is good.
Yeah, you're in the perfect location. So I'd probably say Edinburgh.
You want to do comedy in Edinburgh?
Essentially, that's all this question established. Is that I want to go to the Fringe next year.
Literally,
dear.
The last podcast I did with Sam Serrano, which you won't hear, 2 exact same themes have come up, right? Before, you said about when you go to comedy shows and you like to get a round of applause. His identification of a bad gig is if he doesn't get a round of applause, it's a bad gig.
Does he mean like at the end? Or
no,
in
during.
The middle? Yeah.
Yeah, during. He goes, if I'm not funny enough to get a round of applause, he goes, I wasn't funny enough. And the second thing was, he talked about ideas for his next Edinburgh Fringe show, and he said he was going to stab his mum just so he had something to write about.
Wow. Wow. Dedication to the comedy. I kind of respect that.
When you meet him, though, you'll realise that I don't think he could stab anything. Have you met Sam?
No, I haven't.
Oh, right. You're going to meet some interesting people tonight.
I am looking forward to it. What's his name? Serrano?
Serrano.
Like the ham?
I don't know much about ham.
Like Serrano ham?
Isn't it Milano?
There is Milano, but there's also Serrano. Hi, my name's Ellie and I'm middle class.
Welcome back to Ham Chats, sponsored by Waitrose. Wait, hang on. What we need to talk about is what we saw at the petrol station earlier today.
Yes, that was very
Can you explain to me
exciting.
what happened when you rocked up?
So what I saw, I pulled up into the car park and I saw this man wearing bright pink boxers with a microphone like on a boombox shouting something over, and there's a load of people filming. Anyway, they proceeded to walk over to the petrol station and chant petrol pump, body pump
Petrol pump, body pump.
while dancing to loud music. And
At a
it
public
was
petrol
amazing.
station while people are trying to fill up the car. The woman in the petrol station was calling the police as this man was dancing around the petrol station.
Did you see the one woman trying to fill up her car with her son in the front seat? This like 3-year-old boy in the front was like looking out the window like, what is going on? Oh, welcome to Southland.
But I don't know what it is. I feel like we should Google petrol pump, body pump.
I would go to that workout class. No, I probably wouldn't. I don't exercise.
It must be like a piss take. I just don't understand.
Oh yeah, it's got to be, hasn't it? But what would it for? Because some of those had like nice cameras and stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe he's like a famous YouTuber.
Oh, the tubes. The tubers. No
Have
one
you
says
ever
that.
been into doing YouTube or anything?
I thought about it,
Yeah.
but again, and I think I made like a few videos like a few years ago, but then I didn't get the reaction that I wanted because you couldn't, again, like with stand-up comedy, you get that immediate response, don't you? You know how well it's gone.
Yeah.
And you can feel it, whereas like on a screen it's just a bit sort of, I don't know.
Views doesn't really equal enjoyment.
It's more impersonal, isn't it, when
Yeah.
it's a screen? Like, comedy is a personal, it's an intimate thing. So I prefer that. This is very insightful.
We're learning a lot about you. Let's take it back. We haven't got long to go, but tell me about. You don't have any brothers and sisters, do you? You're an only child.
No, it's just me, myself, and I.
Fantastic.
And
So,
my dog.
what was it? What was it like growing up as an only child? Did you feel like you were always the center of attention?
Yeah, I think there were swings and roundabouts. To be honest, most people when they meet me assume that I have brothers and sisters, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Again, there's like a stigma around like only children being spoiled, but
You definitely don't come across as that.
well, thank you. But growing up, there was good things and bad things, isn't there? Like good because you are spoiled, bad because it can be a bit lonely sometimes.
Yeah.
And yeah, and again, some kids can be mean at schools, can't they? Like they would like always call like only children like lonely child instead of only child, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, nice.
Were you lonely though?
No, that's the thing. It's like I was quite happy, and now as an adult, I'm very comfortable in my own company.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite a good thing. You know, I'm very independent. I could cope on my own. I don't need anyone there all the time. I can just do anything on my own.
Good.
Good.
That's where you want to be.
I know. Like I said, I am going to rule the world one day.
I think you should move to Australia. I think that's a great next step
Do
for
you
you.
think?
I think you'd have the
Do you
time of your life.
Whereabouts in Australia can you imagine me? Where would you recommend me to go?
Brisbane.
Brisbane.
Brisbane is the best place to live.
Okay.
It's not the best place to visit. So if you're just going for like 3 days, it's like Manchester,
Yeah.
right? Manchester's not that crash hot exciting to visit, is it?
No.
But
no.
to live,
Mm,
really good.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like that. Like there's not like
True.
well, there is a few things to see. Like there's theme parks there, and there's rivers and zoos and all the rest. But it's like okay. Whereas like Melbourne and Sydney and that, it's like it's too big city though. And for you,
Yeah.
I think like how would you go living in London? I don't think you'd
Oh,
like
no,
it.
no. I love London again to like visit it.
Yeah.
Because I've got
That's
family
Sydney
down
and
there
Melbourne.
and it's really nice.
Yeah.
And like it's fun and it's exciting, but oh my god, no, I couldn't live
Yeah.
there.
If you wanted somewhere like Manchester and Sheffield, Brisbane would be
Yeah.
perfect. And the sun is always shining and the men are always friendly.
I thought you can say the men are really good looking. I was like, book me a flight.
Well, look, some of them, look, I'm not going to make any guarantees, but they're always very friendly.
Oh, nice.
Whereas here,
Yeah.
it swings and roundabouts on the bloody
Yeah.
women here. I'll tell you about my controversial Tinder date that I had.
Oh yes, please tell. Please
So,
say.
well, I wrote a bit about it. There was a girl that came to pick me up, and we drove to the cinemas together, right? And we drive into the cinema car park, and she drives in and parks in a disabled car parking space. And I was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, are you that lazy that you can't just park in a regular car park? And she was like, I'm disabled. And I was like, no, you're not. And then she pulls out, basically she's paralysed from like the knee down on her right leg. I don't know how she was driving, because she was driving manual. So I don't know how it was working. But anyway, she was paralysed. So then I like embarrassed her, being like, oh, you're not disabled. And then she was. Then we get out. We'd arrived far too late. The film had already started and they'd stopped selling tickets. So then we had to bloody limp with old bloody, mong leg over here back to the car. Then she like drove me back home. So that was just a disaster. Like she dropped me back off and I was like, well, I obviously can never speak to you again because
oh my gosh, are you kidding? That was it?
Embarrassed myself. Yeah. But then there was another girl that I went out with and we went to, I was like suggesting places to go. I was like, oh, where do you want to go? She's like, oh, let's just go to Wetherspoons. And I was like, okay. So, like classy ladies, I like to keep it, I like to keep it classy. And then she just, the jug of cocktails you can get and then they just put a straw in it.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never seen that before in my entire life. Yeah. So that threw me off to begin with, that she was drinking out of a jug with a straw.
Oh, she was just having it to herself?
Yes.
It wasn't even to share.
No, it wasn't to share. She was just there with a straw in a jug, just like slurping it down. And I was just like, alarm bells here, like obviously a pisshead, like suggests we go to Spoons, and then gets a jug of cocktail. But then throughout the chat, when I told her I did stand up, she told me she was the funniest person in her group of friends, and then proceeded throughout the course of maybe 3 hours, told me that she was a very confident person. She's the most confident person, such a confident person. About 10 times she said the word confident person. Does that not scream insecurity to you?
Yeah, she seems not very confident. Oh no! I mean, that sounds like a disaster.
Yeah. So those were the 2 Tinder dates I went on.
That is the first one. How long did that last? About 20 minutes? Half an hour?
Nah, maybe an hour in terms of like from picking up, driving, wandering around. Because obviously with the bloody mong leg, she wasn't moving very quick. So to get to the cinema, and then that entire time. Like, I was trying to, like, the conversation on the way there was good. Then I said the stuff about you're not disabled. Then I think I fucked up because then I took too much interest in her foot. And I was like, oh, so what does it feel like? I was like, if I ran your foot over with a car, like, could you feel it? She's like, I wouldn't feel it, but my feet would be broken. I was like, yeah. So then I took, like, way too much interest in, like, how paralysed she was. It turns out I think she had multiple sclerosis, and that was part of the paralysingness. But again, it's a fun way to end. It is. Tell me about your worst Tinder date.
It's not like a bad Tinder date, but I will tell you, I met this guy on Tinder. He seemed really nice, and then it was like a summer, just went on a few dates. Nothing really happened, and then about a year later, like he rang me up for some reason. And I picked up and I was like, hey, like, how are you? Like, what's he going? And he was like, yeah, I was just like arrested for fraud. And I was like, oh, great, okay. Like, oh my God.
You were his one phone call?
No, he wasn't. He was in the police station. He was like, oh, I know who to call. This Tinder date.
That girl I fucking kissed a year ago at the fucking Sheffield fucking Conservative Club. In the bloody snooker room over a £2 ale and a packet of pork scratchings.
You know what? It's like incredibly accurate. Not the Tory part. But that kind of like spooked me out about Tinder, because I mean I could be just meeting up with criminals now.
So that stops you. One guy gets arrested for fraud and you're going to stop falling in love.
I mean, I wouldn't really call that love. What we have is love. I also don't really believe in love.
Really? Why not? We've got time. Why do you believe in love?
I don't know. I don't know. Well, I mean, like true love, I don't think exists. I think you can love like more people, like more than one person.
Yes.
But I don't know. I just haven't ever really met like a couple that are like entirely perfect. Like there's always problems, like there's always, so I just don't, in my mind I'm like, that it can't be real then, can it? Like true love.
I think the idea for you is the idea of what you think true love is not actually what it is. So
Yeah,
for the
that's probably
longest
right.
time, I didn't really understand what it was like to even consider anybody else's emotions, feelings,
Yeah.
or life choices, right? And now I've got to the point where the girl I'm seeing now, Hazel, basically, whatever she says, right, whether
Yeah.
I like it or I don't like it, it doesn't matter because it's what she actually wants to say.
Yeah.
So, like, she'll say things and she'll be like, are you angry? Like, are you upset? And I'll be like, no. I said,
Yeah.
because you just told me how you feel.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be angry. And, like, if like, you've got to be able to take it, like, this whole, if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. As much as I hate that saying and it grates the shit out of me, it is very, very
I
true.
think it's true.
Because you almost, like, you fall in love or you have a strong feeling towards someone because of something that they've got going on, and then you see all the pitfalls in them and you see all the problems, and you just have to learn to be like, well, that's part of this whole entire package.
Yeah.
But again, it's not like it's learning to love that particular person. And not just getting too caught up being like, you did this, but now you do this as well, and I don't like
Yeah.
that, but I did like this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I think that's probably right. I think I'm just quite a cynical person in general about a lot of things. I don't believe there's a lot of things I'm cynical about, and that's probably one of them. And I think generally my dating history has been sort of relatively unsuccessful, so that's probably where I get, my perspective from. But who knows? Again, like going back to what I said earlier, I'm just looking for someone who can make me laugh and makes me feel comfortable. And I've not yet found that person. So maybe it does exist, but I just haven't found it yet.
that was literally how I was, like, however many months ago, like, even, like, the week before I'd met Hazel, I was like, I just deleted Tinder, deleted all the shit, and I was like, I'm stopping trying to look for somebody.
Yeah.
It's just too hard,
Yeah.
and I just don't care.
Uh-huh.
And I'd written down on my phone, basically, back in October of last year, all these goals and things that I wanted to achieve when I came to England, because I wanted this to be like a purposeful adventure.
Yeah.
I didn't want this to just be come over, get pissed, have a laugh, and go home and be like, oh, what did I even really do?
Yeah.
Like, nothing. So I wrote it out, and in there I put basically what I wanted to find in a partner, and then at the end I was like, if this is not possible, then it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not going to just settle and just have, like, empty encounters with people that don't fit this criteria.
Yeah. I think that's what it is. And I think, I just haven't had a great time with it. So if anyone wants to call me, my number is...
Give it out, Ellie. Live life on the edge. If people want to follow you on the socials and see where you're performing and hanging out, where can they do that?
Cool. My name is Ellie Pollard. I'm on social medias at Ellie Comedy. So I've got a Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, which I never really use. But I also run a night in Sheffield called The Comedy Hose. We run monthly open mic nights, and we have got some really exciting stuff coming up. And if you're in or around Sheffield, 12th of December, put it in your diaries and get yourself down to Cafe Totem.
Woo!
Yes, it's going to be a fantastic night. We've got some incredible people coming down, so please come down and have a laugh with us.
Is it including me? Am I confirmed on that bill?
Yes.
Oh, heck yes! Time to be funny! Right, thank you so much for coming on, Ellie.
No, thank you.
Really
This has been
enjoyed
really insightful.
Hasn't it just?
Hasn't it? I'm going to go and
Anyway.
reflect in a hole somewhere now.
Mm.
Lovely.
Make sure you put the casserole on now, cook yourself a dinner, and stay safe. Don't forget to feed your cat. Bye.
Bye.